Hey guys, Libby News here. So today I'm going to be doing my review slash reaction for the newest episode of the Future Volume, and wow, do we have a lot to talk about. For this episode, I'm gonna skip around a lot of scenes and just really focus on the big ones, especially that ending though. But anyways, without further ado, let's begin. So the first important thing I wanted to point out was at the beginning of the episode, Monokuma goes over several of the past events and some of the rules of the game. And the interesting thing about this is that Monokuma actually acknowledges the fact that Hagakure is trapped outside. And since Hagakure doesn't have a armband like all of the other members of the killing game, it's been assumed that he's not actually involved in the killing game because of this, and that there's an extra person hiding among the members of the Future Foundation because the participant counter in the opening sequence never matches up with the amount of participants still alive. But getting that out of the way, there was something interesting I thought of when I was watching this scene, and a little while back, Kirigiri noticed that the indent on the wall left from Izue's weapon in the first episode was missing. And this has led a lot of people to believe that after the first time everybody fell asleep, they were moved to a different location, or that they're stuck in a virtual world now. So hypothetically speaking, if they were actually all moved from the first tower and Hagakure is still outside of the first tower they were at, then wouldn't that mean that if he does manage to break inside somehow and try to save them, that they would actually not be there? But this is just something I thought of. I'm curious to hear if you guys have any opinions on this as well. So the next scene I want to talk about is this fight scene between Juzo, Kirigiri, Ryota, and Tengen. And a lot of people have speculated that Juzo's forbidden action is that he can't actually punch anybody, and after this episode I feel like it's pretty much confirmed, because once Tengen challenges Juzo, he almost punches him, and Tengen sort of taunts him saying, "You aren't going to punch me? Aren't you the super high school level boxer?" So after that scene, Asahina and Miei meet up with Kirigiri, Mirai, and Tengen, and Mirai sort of monologues about how he wishes he could save everyone and how he feels like he only brings misery and he wishes he could be like Nagi. I have to say that Ryota Mirai is slowly becoming one of my favorite new characters of the Danganronpa 3 anime, and it seems like he looks up to Nagi a lot when he's giving this speech, and I wonder what caused this vulnerability inside of himself, and if it has to do at all with the fact that he wasn't attending Hope's Peak Academy. There's a lot of mystery as to why the Ultimate Imposter is disguised as him and why he's not present in the Despair Side anime, and I think the revelations as to why that is will explain a lot of his personality as well. So the next important scene I want to talk about is Munakata's conversation with Nagi, and in this scene he drops some major truth bullets on me and both Nagi, I think. He basically expresses that there's no way for sure to prove if they kill the attacker or not, so the attacker can basically control when the game ends, and they can even use another Future Foundation member as a sacrificial pawn. That way they can join the ranks as a hero who survived the killing game and can infiltrate from the inside of the Future Foundation. Specifically, he states that the attacker will use Nagi to deeply entrench the roots of despair, all while proclaiming it's in the name of hope. So the next bit I'm going to talk about is Kizakura and Kyoko and Mirai scene together, and in the previous episode, Kizakura mentions that he wants to meet up with that girl. And I've seen a good bit of speculation, and there's two valid options that I personally see happening in this. So the first option is that he's talking to Monica or the mastermind, because as you can see when Kirigiri and them first walk into the room, he's facing the monitor. But the second option that I've seen is that he was actually waiting for Kirigiri, because in the Despair Side he works alongside Jin Kirigiri, and also it would make sense for him to wait next to the dead bodies because he knows that she will eventually investigate them. And when they asked him about why he was there, he states that the safest place is to be next to a detective. Another thing that's been pointed out to me quite a bit is that in one of the earlier episodes, when Munakata was asking everybody who they thought the traitor was, Kizakura actually pointed to Miei. Now, I didn't mention that in that episode review because I honestly thought it was supposed to be a joke and that he was actually accusing Monami of being the traitor and not Miei. But it seems that I may have been wrong and that he was able to foresee the future somehow. But then again, a lot of people still seem to think that Miei might not be the traitor that everybody's looking for at the moment, and that there might be another one hiding amongst them. So the next scene I want to talk about is the scene between Iruka Seco, and Izuyoi because we learn a little bit more about their feud and their past in this episode. Firstly, they mention how they used to be friends, and also that Seco, Izuyoi, and Iruka were all three expelled from Hope's Peak Academy because of this whole situation that happened. So in the second Despair Side episode, we already saw Teruteru mention that he worked alongside the super high school level pharmacist, which is Seco, so it can be assumed that they are not expelled yet while the events of the Despair Side take place. So I am really curious as to how they're going to reveal this feud and what exactly happened. I think more than likely we'll hear either Iruka or Izuyoi or Seco talk about it in the future side and then maybe see hints towards it in the Despair side. I guess there's a chance they might have a flashback in the future side, or that we'll see some of the feud actually take place in the Despair side, but I don't really know if they have enough time to work with that since there's only 12 episodes for each side. So I think them mentioning it in the future side and then hinting towards it in the Despair side would be the most likely outcome. So the next scene I want to talk about is the scene between Tengen and Munakata, and it's a really cool battle scene. I really enjoyed it. We really get to see Tengen's outlook on Munakata and what his version of hope is, especially when he calls out a lot of the flaws in Munakata's version, stating that the young seem to think that fanaticism is the only way to face reality, and when Munakata states that there are sacrifices that need to be made in order to fight despair, he asks if Chisa Yukazome is one of those sacrifices, which totally pushes Munakata off edge. Eventually, Tengen and Munakata both fall off of the ledge, and Munakata seems decently unharmed while Tengen has a hole sticking through him. In this scene, there's also a bit of character development for Munakata as well. It's nice to see that he was able to admit that he was wrong about something. I think it gives potential for him to learn and grow from Nagi, as well for Nagi to learn and grow from Munakata, because I feel like if they reached a middle ground, they could definitely work together. So this scene gave me some hope for that. And also at the end of the scene, Munakata says, "I want to know what you're thinking," to Tengen, which we don't actually get to hear Tengen's reply in this episode, so I really hope they cover that in the next episode. So we don't actually see Tengen die on screen in this episode, but looking at his state, it does seem as if he's in pretty bad shape, and I don't really see how he could not die from this. But then again, it is Danganronpa, so who knows. Anyways, when comparing this to his death in the opening sequence, it's very, very different. And earlier in the episode, when Kirigiri looks down at her band and it states that there's a little over 30 minutes left until the next attack happens. So what I'm thinking might happen in the next episode is that the wristbands will go off and everybody will fall asleep, and the attacker might actually target Tengen and then recreate this death that we see in the opening sequence, especially because it looks as if he's hung up in this, and the attacker does like to hang the victims up after killing them. But that's just an idea that I have, so I'd love to hear y'all's opinions on this as well. So next, I'm moving on into the biggest reveal of this episode, which of course is that Miei is a robot being controlled by Monica Toa. And honestly, over the past few months, I have heard the theory that Monica is Miei so much, and I honestly didn't believe it just because they looked so similar. I thought it was too obvious and that she was just going to be a red herring put in there by Kadaka. And I honestly thought that I would be disappointed if it turned out that Miei was Monica in disguise or something along those lines, but I actually was not disappointed at all. I'm really honestly excited about it because this means that the possibility of Fukawa or Toko or Tagami showing up is gone up way higher, as well as the other characters from another episode, and I'm really excited that we finally got confirmation on a connection to another episode because we really hadn't seen anything implying that there was going to be any sort of connection to another episode, so seeing this was really exciting for me. But this also brings up a ton of questions as well. And the first thing this made me think of is whether or not Miei is a real person or not. And looking back at the character profiles that were translated by Jinjojess a while back, we can see that nobody knew what class she was from at Hope's Peak Academy, but it also says that she helped work on the Neo World program alongside Matsuda and Fujisaki. So the fact that nobody knows what class she pertained to does make it seem like she is not a real person, but at the same time, if Monica had created the Mirai robot to infiltrate the Future Foundation, it would mean that she became a member much later than everybody else, because as you see, Kamaru talks to Nagi in another episode while he's a part of the Future Foundation, and I don't really feel like they would accept her that late in the game, especially if nobody had ever seen or heard of this girl before. So I sort of lean towards the idea that Mirai was actually a real person before, and maybe that Monica captured or killed the real Mirai and then began impersonating her, because that just makes the most sense to me, but I am curious to hear your opinions on this as well. Another question this brings up is whether or not Monica is the mastermind of this game, or if she's just sort of pulling the strings for a bigger and better mastermind. So there's not really any proof either way for this, but the main argument that I've seen and that I sort of feel is that it's way too early to reveal the head or the mastermind of this killing game. So I do believe that somebody else is working with Monica and is more than likely the true mastermind of the game. And I've also seen a lot of people talking about whether or not there is another traitor among them and that Mirai is just one of them, and I honestly agree with that as well. Like I mentioned before, I believe that the attacker and the traitor are two different people, so part of me wonders whether or not she would be the traitor or the attacker, if my theory was correct. We see that she has all these insane weapons stored inside of her and all these things she can use to her advantage, and one thing that I have noticed is, especially with Great Gozu, you would need somebody with a ton of strength in order to commit this murder. And as for cheeses, you need somebody who can reach up to high places. So seeing as Mirai is this sort of robot and she has this computer attached to her that has weapons and other sorts of things, it definitely does seem likely that she is the attacker. Also, of course, she was in the room when Great Gozu died as well, so it makes sense if she was the one who attacked him. So I personally believe that she is the attacker, and the reveal of the traitor will come a little bit later on. A lot of people seem to also think that because Monica showed up, this somehow confirms that Kamaida will show up as well, and it's true that they worked together in another episode and that he was the one who literally inspired her to do this in the first place, but I'm not really completely sure if her appearance confirms him showing up because he is still unconscious. At the end of another episode, he says that he'll lend her a hand if his schedule allows it, so the way he says it here, it doesn't seem like he has a plan, so maybe he's relying on luck to somehow get back on the other side of the second killing game. But this is all speculation on my part. I have no idea if he's gonna come back or not. I've just seen a lot of people saying that it's confirmed, which I don't really think it is at this point. I think we'll just have to wait and see. But it's just a thought that I had. And the last thing I want to mention, or the last question I really had regarding this, was how they consider this to be like a participant in the killing game or not. Like, are they both considered to be participants or just one of them? And the official Danganronpa 3 website has been adding character bios as new characters have been appearing, and the one for Monica reads, former Super Elementary School homeroom taking the place of Gekugahara to participate in the killing game. So this basically confirms to me that only Mirai is counted as a participant in the killing game out of both of them, so the final participant is still a mystery. But anyways, this concludes my review section of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy the reaction portion as well. Oh, no way! Oh. She's a robot? Oh no! Yes! Oh my god, I'm so... Oh my god! Oh, I'm way too happy about that! No way! So seriously, was Monica controlling her? I thought that was too obvious! Or so they're just like straight up being like, oh, Mirai is the traitor? So straight up, she's a traitor, right? I'm so happy! Oh my god! I'm so happy she's in this!
Subscribe to Weeby News for more hope-filled videos.